Well, hello, my name is Lynn Jackman, and welcome to What to Do with What You Grew. For the last 35 years, my husband and I have been raising our own food, and we've learned a lot of tricks to that trade that I'd like to share with you. We're going to get set up and start making our crust for our peach pie. I call this my always turns out great pie crust because it really does. It's easy in the food processor. You just want to put your flour in. This is a little bit of sugar and just a pinch of salt. And then you want to pulse that to mix your dry ingredients really well. And it also helps to kind of fluff up your flour. Okay, now you want to put butter in, and this has to be ice cold butter. I just took it out of the freezer. You cut a stick of butter up into cubes like that. Put that in and pulse it. And this is the texture, the exact texture that you want. You want to see chunks of butter in there. They don't need to be uniform in size. Just pulse it until you get that look. Okay, you're gonna put the top back on. This is cold ice water. I'm gonna pour a quarter of a cup. Now, we are going to pour this very carefully through the top. I kind of balance it on the top. And as I pour, I pulse it. And the reason why we want to go slow is because it'll come together quickly. Too much moisture, you can't take the moisture out. So it's better to put a little bit less in. Okay, it's not coming together, so now what we're going to do, and this depends on the humidity of the atmosphere, what we're going to do is turn it on, and I'm going to add a tablespoon at a time and let it whir for at least 5 seconds between each tablespoon. When it comes together, you'll know it because it'll start in a big ball. It'll get come together in a big ball. Who doesn't love a fresh fruit pie? And today we're going to make peach pie. So we've got our fresh peaches here. We're going to put in our sugar, lemon juice just to give it a brightness in its flavor. We put in flour so that the juice that comes out of the lemon can thicken. And then we have our spices. We have cinnamon and nutmeg. Put them in. Okay, now what you want to do is stir that up really well. And then we will put it in the pie crust we just made. Okay, now the peach crust that we made, the dough, I want you to cut it in half because it makes 2 crusts, okay? So we only need to work one at a time. We've got a bottom crust and a top crust. You want to put some flour on your bench so that your dough won't stick as you're rolling it out. Try to get it started out as circular as possible. And then you want to flour your pan and start rolling it out in all directions. Every once in a while you need to stop, loosen it up, and get some more flour back in the, put some on that. That makes it a little bit easier to come from off of the pie, or the pin, rolling pin.
And from here, go ahead and roll it out. In the episode, we'll put it in quicker motion to show you, like, you know, getting it all set up and ready. And then we'll cut to you putting it in, we'll cut back to regular speed when you put it in the pie pan.
Okay. So I'm done talking at this point in time, right? I just need to...
And then when you...
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, we're gonna roll it up. I think it's easier to roll it up on the pie, or on the rolling pin like this, and then bring your plate over and just unroll it right back off. This dough is wonderful and very easy to work with. It's very forgiving, so just don't worry about even any tears or splits. You can fix it. I always like to shove it down in the pie plate just a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to take the bench scraper and we're just going to cut off the excess dough from around the edge. Your top crust is going to go on and it's going to fold up underneath this bottom crust, so you don't need that excess there. All right, let me... Didn't start too round, did it? Now this one doesn't have to be as big because it's just going across the top. Okay, now that we have the top crust rolled out, we want to grab our filling. And we're going to put our filling right down into the bottom crust. Now, I don't like real shallow pies. I like them nice and full. So I kind of make sure they're pretty full, okay? Now, I'm going to bring the top pie crust up. We do want it to overhang because we need to fold under a little bit of that pie crust so that we can crimp it. Okay, now what I want you to do is find where it is overhanging by more than a quarter to half an inch and just take some kitchen shears and trim that off. You don't need all that extra dough on your pie. You want people to taste the filling as well as the dough, but if you get too much dough, you can't taste the filling. Okay, now what I want you to do is we're going to take the top crust and we're going to fold it underneath the bottom. Okay, so just get it. And like I said, this is a very forgiving pie crust, so don't worry at all about tears. You just want to roll that under, pinch it a little bit. And the last step in the actual dough process is just to maybe use a thumbprint or whatever favorite crimping tool maybe that you have, but you just have to close the dough so that the filling doesn't boil out. I like pies to look really rustic, so there we go. That looks real homemade. Now, take your bench scraper. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, now take your bench scraper and you can put in a couple of slits and maybe make, I don't know, you can make it pretty. But the basic, what this is very utilitarian. What you're trying to do is just let the steam escape. Okay, now the last step to making your pie real appealing is to brush it with an egg wash, and that is simply take an egg and a little bit of water, beat it together, and then brush the top of your, and this makes it shiny, and it also makes the sugar stick to the top of it. So take a little bit of granulated sugar, just sprinkle it over. Okay, now your pie is ready for the oven. Okay, you want to preheat your oven to 350, and it looks like ours is ready to go. Okay, all we need to do now, slip the pie into the oven. Now it's going to bake for 55 minutes. Come back and check it at 30 minutes. And if your top is getting a little too brown, all you need to do is take a piece of foil and loosely cover it, and that way the pie can finish baking without the crust getting too brown. Okay, should be about time for our pie to come out. Oh, yum, look at that. Oh man, and does it smell wonderful. They really should have smell-o-vision. Now, I don't want you to think that you have to have fresh peaches if you want a peach pie. You can have peach pie in the middle of winter by a cozy fireplace, and I'm going to show you how to freeze it so it's all ready to go. This is a trick I learned years ago, and I use it. In here, we have pie plate, we have saran wrap. All you do is line a saran wrap, or line your pie plate with saran wrap both ways. Put your peaches in the middle, press them down, wrap your saran wrap up, keep it in the pie plate, and throw it in the freezer. When it's frozen, you can take it out, put it in a Ziploc bag, and when you want peach pie by a fireplace on a cold winter's night, all you have to do is take this disc out of the freezer, unwrap it, put it in your pie plate, put the ingredients, the spices and the flour and everything right on top, put your top dough on, slide it in the oven, and you will have wonderful fresh peach pie in the winter. If you like these detailed recipes, you can find them on lynnjackman.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Lynn Jackman, and this is What to Do with What You Grew.